Welcome to Podcast 21 in the series of Who Let the Master Out. Last episode, I shared an experience I had with colored orbs. And in this episode, I'm going to share a sort of a vision I had when I was stressing over trying to save the world. Whenever I have these types of experiences, it's like some sort of intense, expansive daydream kind of thing where I feel like I'm there while realizing that it's all happening in that dream place in our minds. I call it the mind's eye, and it really has a lot to do with our third eye chakra. Spirit projects a scene onto the movie screen in our heads, and we get to see a message, and we also get to feel the emotions that come along with it. So the character I'm playing in life really enjoys helping people move from stress to peace and from fear back to unconditional love. And at one point, I still held a belief that I needed to help everyone stop feeling uncomfortable emotions right now. As you can imagine, when you're trying to control everyone else, that can lead to a bit of stress in your life. So one particular day I was feeling overwhelmed because so many of my friends and acquaintances were going through things that I deemed horrible. I was feeling very stressed and very out of control. And that's when this vision dropped into my head. I saw myself walking the halls of an elementary school, and as I peeked in the little windows and the doors to each classroom, every student's face had a look of struggle on it. The teachers kept repeating the lessons over and over and over, trying to get the students to understand it. And finally, in this vision, I had enough, and I began to burst into each room, announcing that we're all going to the auditorium. So the teachers led all the students down the hall until everyone in the entire school had filed into their seats. And after everyone was settled in, I proceeded to the stage and announced that because the lessons seemed to be causing so much pain for everyone, we were just going to sit there in the assembly hall where it was peaceful. And the students seemed relieved, they didn't have to be in class. But the teachers seemed unaffected. In fact, they had these grins on their faces, and they looked at me with these smiles on their face, and that was unsettling because they knew something that I didn't. Well, it didn't take too long just sitting there in that auditorium before one of the younger students raised their hand to ask a question. And I called on her and asked, what do you have to say? And she just asked, if we're not going to be in class, can we just go home? And I pondered that for a moment. And then I ordered everyone back to class. The teachers smiled as they led their students back into their classrooms. And it dawned on me, we come here to experience these uncomfortable emotions. And if we aren't going to attend class, then we might as well be back home in paradise. But we are here for a reason and by our own choice. So when times get tough for me or the people around me, I try to remember this vision because it helps me realize that I don't have to solve all my problems or anyone else's problems for that matter. We're in class to learn about ourselves and to experience what we perceive as problems, which aren't problems at all. They're just experiences to show us what it feels like when we perceive ourselves as less or not good enough. In our classes, there are no wrong answers, just awesome experiences. And when I get in the mindset that I need to rescue someone from their situation and emotions, I try to remember to chant in my head that no one needs rescuing. I try to remember the amazing, perfect, powerful, supernatural, eternal spirit being that they really are. I imagine a huge representation of that person standing behind them, kind of hovering over top of them. You know, a spirit being made of unconditional love, this perfect being. And they're always smiling or grinning at me because they are in a state of bliss continually. They're connected with that physical character that is walking around down here. And they witness the emotions and events that this character goes through. I see that they have asked for these uncomfortable emotions, and that this is just one big game that we're all playing down here. We never really get hurt. We never really get heartbroken. We never really die. These bodies, these characters we're playing are just game pieces on this giant game board being moved around for the enjoyment and experience of the higher beings. And then when I get stressed with my own life, remember that I asked for all of this. I actually can connect with my higher, powerful self and have a good laugh about what I had witnessed in the moment. Drama. Woohoo! Next episode, we'll briefly chat about 3 other superpowers that we have: self-talk, the hug, and directness. But until then, break the cycle. Be free. Be big. Because we're giants in a world of giants who have been taught that we're weak and small. It's time to rise. It's time to let your master out.